Oh boy, I got a lot of things to say about this story that's been breaking and just wreaking havoc on the internet all morning, all afternoon, and it's still ongoing. This is likely what people are going to be talking about all weekend, and it's going to just, it's going to, you know, make us ask ourselves, has this happened before? Has this type of thing been organized before? I'm starting to even doubt the legitimacy of the claims made during Charlottesville because and I did a podcast about it, that people weren't talking honestly about Charlottesville, that there were a lot of weird things going on with the Charlottesville event. Nonetheless, let me sum up this situation really quickly. Employees of the Virginia Democratic Party, so VA Dems, I apologize for the phone, they ended up dressing up like evil, spooky white supremacists, and they ended up standing in front of the Youngkin campaign bus, and they were saying cringy things like "We're all in for Glenn." And I don't think they said anything or did anything racist, but this was meant to invoke serious and nasty emotions because they're dressed up as evil white supremacists. The ones that appear to have been invented by the federal government or the FBI during the Charlottesville debacle. I think that was a false flag as well. I think that whole situation stinks like shit. But nonetheless, this one absolutely does. It does so much that we ended up discovering the identities of some of these people. And now the line press, these fakesters, the fake news industry, they've been trying to take credit for our work, because while people like me ended up discovering who these guys really were, who they worked for, what their Twitter and Instagram handles were, etc., the press was also running along with it. But our voices appeared to be a lot louder than theirs, and we ended up coming out on top. Being an expert on fake hate crimes, or in this case, it wasn't a crime committed as far as I can tell, but this is certainly this falls into the purview of a fake hate hoax or whatever. It's a hate hoax. Let's just put it that way. And this is obviously designed, this stunt, this fake news event was designed to hurt the Youngkin campaign, because he's well past within striking distance. He has dealt a lethal blow to McAuliffe, mostly because of McAuliffe's own doing, not because Youngkin is an interesting candidate or whatever. McAuliffe sucks. He's anti, choice for parents. He doesn't want parents to be able to have a say in what goes on in the schools or how the children are educated or what is being taught in the classroom. He wants them to be completely divorced from the educational process. That is who McAuliffe is. McAuliffe is this creepazoid who basically mirrors all the horrific policies of Ralphie Northam, another genuine racist who dresses up like a KKK member or in blackface. Not like it matters, I don't really care, but people who think that's really horrible and bigoted, well, that's Ralphie Northam, that's his guy. It's abundantly clear what was supposed to happen here was these evil, spooky, fake racists, they were going to stand in front of the bus, and the fake news industry, the line press, they were going to, recycle the images, circulate them all over the internet, manufacture a bunch of outrage, and they were going to essentially just use this as cannon fodder against the Youngkin campaign the entire weekend, because as of right now it's a Friday, so all weekend this was going to, basically be at the, front page news in Virginia, and it was supposed to hurt Youngkin because the election is on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. It didn't work out that way, though, did it? They got caught. And I have here on the screen one of the alleged evil, spooky white supremacists that's probably a Trump supporter. But these are actually employees for VA Dems, or at the very least, two of them are. Now, here's what happened. Because prior to making the live changes that I did before coming onto YouTube, before I bothered with any of this, I was a lifelong Democrat. I'm technically still a Democrat. I'm too lazy to change, but I'm never going to vote for a Democrat again. I voted for Trump twice, if that matters. But I used to work for the Nevada Democratic Party. I worked for the election department. It's a government position, not political. And, I've worked for various other political groups, and I understand how this game works. So this is what I'm just guessing here. But this is likely what happened. They pulled these idiots aside who stood in front of the bus, and they said, hey, we need a big ask. We need a big favor. You're going to go and stand in front of the bus. We're going to use the image of you guys looking like evil, spooky, white supremacist Trump supporters, and we're going to circulate it all over the internet. We're going to fucking trash Trump. We're going to, publish these stupid articles, something like fascism is back with a vengeance. We got to beat back the Trump endorsed candidate Youngkin, and, blah, 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 save democracy and all this other nonsense, combat racism. Ooh, because they want to change the conversation from Youngkin being pretty much the pro medical mandate guy, being the anti-parent person, being the child abuse endorser, essentially, and they wanted to change it to he's going to defend all the brave people of color, and he's going to be the one that protects Virginia from the evil, spooky racists, because that's a conversation that they're used to having. That's their territory. That's where they want to go. But of course, they got caught by people like me. We ended up discovering the identity of a handful of the people who stood in front of that bus. And now the line press, who was going to run along with this, is trying to take credit for our work. I'll show it to you. So let's just go ahead and go over to this tab here. So Carl Smith, as hard as it is to believe that someone could have botched a false flag this badly, this fact pattern is damning. So the Lincoln Project acknowledged they were behind the stunt after Vice News identified one of the people dressed in the photo in front of Youngkin's camping bus as a low-level Democratic operative who has recently been working for Democratic sting operator Laura Windsor's the undercurrent. Laura Windsor's the undercurrent. Oh, sorry, I botched that. Her group has repeatedly gone undercover as conservative activists to goad politicians into saying what's really on their mind, and has also held events alongside the Lincoln Project in recent days. Interesting. So, the news, the line press is now trying to pretend that they identified them. That isn't true at all. That's literally fake news. People like me discovered the identity of these people. People like me understand what is going on. Now, I have a pretty good track record of this stuff, you guys. I did the Althea Bernstein video, and immediately, as soon as that event, that story broke, before it even went national, before she even went to speak with the people at Good Morning America, before Meghan Markle called her up and they were crying on the phone talking about all the stupid bullshit that they talk about, I made the claim. Based on the injuries, it was self-inflicted. And I was right. And I basically said that there wasn't a crime committed here. They're never going to find a perpetrator. She did this to herself. I was 100% correct. I called it. And it was actually one of my more popular videos, by the way. The Covington Catholic kids. Me and Tim Pool and a couple other people, we were the first ones to defend these kids. And there were a lot of idiots on the right, one of them being Ben Shapiro, who I absolutely hate, by the way. I can't stand that guy. People like him smeared the Covington Catholic boys. Not me, though. So this is the official story. The news, the line press, the Virginia Democratic Party, and possibly Laura Windsor and the Lincoln Project idiots, they were all in cahoots to basically, do this false flag attack against Youngkin and sink his campaign. Is he winning? He might be. As far as I can tell, McAuliffe and Youngkin are neck and neck. Six Hexenhammer, he believes that Youngkin has more than a 50-50 chance of winning, and Terry McAuliffe has more than a 50-50 chance of losing. And I think it was the New York Post and Fox News. I think they're publishing fake news right now, saying that Youngkin is 8 points ahead. Not likely. Not likely at all. Is it possible? Maybe. I doubt it. Their methodology stinks, in my opinion. I'm actually going to go ahead and agree with Richard Barris on this one. It's likely, if there is an advantage, it most certainly probably does go to Youngkin. And it isn't because of anything Youngkin did or because he's a particularly exciting figure, but because McAuliffe is such a dirtbag. He's such a creep. He's such a loser. And this is the guy who said he doesn't want parents to have a say in what the children are taught in the schools that their taxpayers fund. He wants parents to be completely divorced from the process. They want the parents to just shut up, bend the knee, Let the educators educate or indoctrinate, really, and just stay out of the way. Let the professionals, let the experts do what they do. And of course, they don't want the parents involved, because the parents, once they figure out what the school districts are up to, what's going on in the classroom, they rise up and they actually sound like Trump. They actually sound like a conservative, like a Republican, like somebody who wants to defend children, which of course the left is infamous for being a little too involved with children, and it doesn't involve helping them, if you know what I mean. So we have this situation now where they did this false flag attack and completely blew up in their face. They got discovered immediately, and now the fake news industry is trying to save face and say that they were the ones that discovered the identities of these people. And now the Lincoln Project is saying, oh, well, this is just a stunt. We're trying to raise awareness. We're trying to do this, blah, blah, blah. And it failed. It failed miserably because we know what they wanted to do. I know what they wanted to do. And a lot of people aren't going to be saying what I'm saying here. Because, again, I used to work for these people. I understand how this works. It's upsetting. My God, man, I'm praying for Youngkin. I hope he wins. I hope he absolutely wins. I want nothing but the best for the people of Virginia. I want them to be free. I don't want any more mandates, and I want parents to have complete and total control of their kids' education, of their children's future. I mean, within reason, of course, because obviously the child grows up and needs to make their own choices eventually. But still, it's like Terry McAuliffe is the one that needs to take the fucking backseat here. He's the one that needs to sit down and listen, not the parents. And of course, now that they're trying to invoke very powerful emotions, very toxic emotions, and get a rise out of people. So they rush to the polls to take down Youngkin because they think he's a racist when he's not. Because they think him and the people that he's surrounding himself with are evil, violent bigots who cheer on the Fed-sponsored event at Charlottesville. I don't buy it. I haven't seen this clip, so let's go ahead and watch it. This is from Tucker Carlson. Give me a second.
So we want to bring you an update right at the top of the show tonight to the Virginia governor's race. That race took a bizarre and deeply revealing turn today. So several people carrying torches, neo-Nazis, showed up in front of a campaign bus for Glenn Youngkin. He's the Republican candidate in that race. They chanted, "We're all in for Glenn." So the entire internet exploded, of course. Every left-wing influencer on Twitter was telling you, see, Glenn Youngkin's a Nazi. But it turns out these weren't actually Glenn Youngkin supporters. It's an amazing story, really. And Fox's Kevin Corke has it for us now. Hey, Kevin.
Amazing indeed, my friend. Evening, Tucker. When in doubt, just try the race card. At least that's what critics argue is really at play in Virginia. A desperate attempt by Democrats, they say, to impugn by association the GOP gubernatorial candidate Glenn Youngkin, because their man, Terry McAuliffe, is trailing in the polls with time running out. Tonight, the liberal activist group Lincoln Project is claiming responsibility for that demonstration outside of Youngkin's campaign bus that recalled the 2017 Charlottesville attack, sending operatives dressed up as, quote, Unite the Right attendees. However, the McAuliffe team is saying this was not us or anyone affiliated with our campaign, that according to their spokesman. However, several members, Tucker, of their staff promoted the hoax for hours online before deleting their posts. Just a couple I can share with you. This from Jen Goodman. This is disgusting and disqualifying. Another campaign spokesperson said the Unite the Right rally was one of the darkest days in the Commonwealth's history. This is who Glenn Youngkin supporters are. Obviously, we know these were not Glenn Youngkin supporters. These were all actors. And I can tell you this, too. There are a lot of people who are talking about it, including Glenn Greenwald. He says the McAuliffe campaign condemned the stunt after they spent all day pushing it as proof of Youngkin's racist ties. I can also share this, Tucker. There's credible evidence to suggest at least one of the so-called actors was herself a Democratic operative with a @Joe Biden as part of her Twitter page bio. That is, of course, before it was changed and later locked. Tucker.
It was the first time seeing that. It was the first time seeing that video. Told you. Peace out.